When looking over the funniest Disney characters, certainly near the top of the list is the Genie in Aladdin. From the moment he shoots out the lamp, he commands our attention with his hilarious presence. So many factors were involved in making him so memorable, and one of the highlights of the movie. When developing Aladdin, directors Ron Clements and John Musker hit upon the idea of making the Genie into a shapeshifter who could turn into all sorts of people, animals, and things. Robin Williams was their first choice for the role, knowing he could bring the energy they were looking for. Eric Goldberg was then tasked with making a test animation set to one of his comedy albums.
Once again, if there are any little children here tonight, we've used these words in a sentence.
Williams loved the test and immediately signed on to voice the Genie. When he stepped into the recording booth, he was given the script and a few ideas of what the Genie could turn into. What he gave them was hours of material, both taking what was on the page and giving it a unique spin, or going off in his own ad-libs. The idea of the Genie turning into 20th century figures was not even in the original script. That was all Williams decided to impersonate everyone from Ed Sullivan to Rodney Dangerfield to Jack Nicholson. Clements, Musker, and Goldberg were then tasked with choosing the best material to use, although he also improvised quite a few risque jokes that you'll never hear in an animated Disney movie. The jokes the Genie tells are hilarious, but Williams also handles the more heartfelt moments with ease, and you truly buy into the growing friendship he has with Aladdin. It's a wonderful performance that was such a brilliant marriage of actor and animation, with the character even designed to look like Williams. Credit should also go to Eric Goldberg and his team, who had the job of keeping up with his energetic recordings, and they nailed it. Goldberg not only animated the Genie, but was also instrumental in the visual look of the film and the decision to give it an Al Hirschfeld style. Now, a lot has been said about how Disney's Aladdin has several similarities with Richard Williams' long-in-the-making animated film The Thief and the Cobbler. This includes the Genie looking a lot like the villain in that movie. It should be noted that Eric Goldberg did spend time as an animator for Richard Williams' studio in the 70s and 80s, and like many an artist who passed through those doors, he worked on The Thief and the Cobbler. So it's definitely in the realm of possibility that he subconsciously drew influence from that film when designing the Genie. Clements and Musker also added several elements to the character not in the original story of Aladdin. In the 1001 Nights version, there is no limit to the number of wishes a genie can grant. The filmmakers chose to limit it to 3 wishes, a device also used in the 1940 movie The Thief of Baghdad, which had a big influence on the making of Aladdin. They also included other rules, like not wishing people back from the dead or wishing for more wishes. Another addition was giving the genie an arc of wanting to be free. There's a sense of loneliness he feels about being stuck in that lamp for so long and only being let out to grant someone's wishes. The reason he connects with Aladdin so much is because he appreciates having a master who is not selfish and with a genuine interest in setting him free as his last wish. When the genie is freed from the shackles of the lamp at the end, it's a sweet moment showing what a great friendship he has with Aladdin. Although watching the ending after Robin Williams has since passed away, it hits differently now. This performance really highlights how good Williams was at switching between making us laugh and leaving us emotional. The movie also gave the Genie some of the best musical numbers in the movie, courtesy of Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. Friend Like Me is a show-stopping number with a ton of energy and showing the Genie's willingness to entertain. There's an excitement of being let out of the lamp and a joy in showing Aladdin what he's capable of. It's basically like one big sales pitch. His other big song is Prince Ali, which is my personal favorite song in the movie. Aladdin tasks the Genie with making him look like a super wealthy prince, and boy does he deliver. Williams transforms into so many characters throughout the song, with my favorite gag coming from him turning into parade float commentators. It all leads up to a rousing finale, although of course none of this impresses Jasmine. Aladdin is one of those Disney movies that just fires on all cylinders, and I love everything about it, but the Genie was one of the main reasons I kept watching it over and over again on video as a child. Now, when Robin Williams signed on to voice the Genie, he made a deal with Disney to not make him and the Genie the focus in the advertising. However, Disney decided to go back on that deal and featured the Genie prominently on the poster and commercials. Williams got really annoyed with this and vowed not to work with Disney again. After starting production on the direct-to-video sequel and television series, they had to find someone else to take over the role. So when viewers popped the Return Jafar into that VCR, they heard Dan Castellaneta as the voice of the Genie. Castellaneta is a very talented voice actor and certainly proved his skills on The Simpsons and even playing the animated version of Doc Brown in the Back to the Future cartoon. However, replacing Robin Williams as the Genie would have been a tall order for anyone. He did okay in The Return Jafar, although everyone who watched that movie recognized they were hearing a substitute, especially since Homer Simpson still peeked through a few times. Even Castellaneta himself has said he knew there was no way he was going to come close to Williams' portrayal, but he gave it his best shot. He would continue to voice the Genie in the television show and did find more of a groove the longer he did it. The Aladdin show was a fun one and made good use of the Genie, while also exploring a bit more of his backstory and expanding on the Genie mythos. There were even a few episodes where he met his previous masters. Even though the Genie was shown having his golden cuffs broken at the end of the first movie to signify him being freed, he has them back on in The Return to Jafar and the television show. I guess the character designers thought he looked strange without them. For some reason, the Aladdin show is not on Disney+, despite being the most requested title among subscribers. For a while it seemed like we would never hear Robin Williams in the role again. That was until Joe Roth replaced Jeffrey Katzenberg as the head of Walt Disney Studios. Roth previously ran 20th Century Fox and had greenlit Toys and Mrs. Doubtfire when he was there. One of the first things he did under his new job at Disney was call up Williams and offer a formal apology for the way Aladdin was promoted. He accepted the apology and agreed to return as the voice of the Genie for the next direct-to-video sequel. For Aladdin and the King of Thieves, the trailers made a big deal about the fact that Robin Williams had come back. Why was it okay with them promoting his involvement in King of Thieves and not on the first Aladdin? Well, he was paid a lot more for the sequel than for the first movie, for one. His salary was only $75,000 for Aladdin, while he received $1 million for his return appearance. Williams continued to bring the same energy and hilarious impressions here, with the Genie even imitating Mrs. Doubtfire in one scene. I personally think he's the best part of the movie, providing some big laughs whenever he shows up. The opening musical number, with the Genie excitedly getting ready for Aladdin and Jasmine's wedding, is a highlight, along with some other great one-liners. I don't think the story in King of Thieves is anything that special, so Williams and the Genie do a lot to elevate it just a tad. He certainly seemed pleased to be voicing the Genie again, as he reprised him in a couple more Disney projects. He voiced the Genie in a series of short segments on the One Saturday Morning blog, titled Great Minds Think for Themselves. These were educational shorts about notable historical figures like Albert Einstein, Susan B. Anthony, and Jackie Robinson, with Williams and the writers managed to pack a lot of information into the quick runtimes. And of course, he threw in all kinds of different voices and impressions. He was also the Genie in the educational CD-ROM game Math Quest of Aladdin. This is a game I have a lot of fond memories of playing when I was a child, and part of the fun was having Williams host it as the Genie, as he would help along the journey to rescue Aladdin as you solved a bunch of puzzles. This, and Great Minds Think for Themselves, were the last times Williams would voice the Genie, though. Whenever he appeared in House of Mouse, he was kept silent, although Dan Castaneda and impressionist Jim Meskimen would continue to voice him for video games. After the success of The Beauty and the Beast and the Lion King stage musicals, it was inevitable that Aladdin would be the next Disney Renaissance movie to be adapted. The show premiered in Seattle in 2011, and after spending a few years touring a few other cities, it premiered on Broadway in 2014. The Genie was played by James Monroe Iglehart, who would go on to win the Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical for his performance. Even though I've never had the opportunity to see the stage musical, I have listened to his versions of Friend Like Me and Prince Ali, and he succeeded in bringing his own style to the Genie rather than going for an imitation of Robin Williams. The version of Friend Like Me in the musical even includes several nods to other classic Disney songs, with Iglehart nicely weaving through the different melodies. Like several other Disney animated movies, Aladdin would also get the live-action remake treatment. To play the Genie, they selected Will Smith, who was honestly an inspired choice. If you get a comedian known for impressions for the role, they will be under pressure to capture what Robin Williams brought to the character. Smith is a very different actor with a different sensibility from Williams, thus making it easier to tailor the character to his specific skills. Smith never tries to copy him and instead brings his own style to the Genie. While he does appear in the blue form from time to time, he's primarily disguised as a human, mostly so he can be by Aladdin's side for more of the movie. Unlike in the animated film, the Genie does not retain his powers after being freed and marries Jasmine's handmaiden. I thought Will Smith did fine in the role, although I admit I was not the biggest fan of how Friend Like Me was performed. They turned into a hip-hop number, and I just don't think the Fresh Prince approach fit the song. I did like his rendition of Arabian Nights, which opened the movie. Of course, the version of the Genie everyone will always remember is Robin Williams in the animated classic. He injected so much brilliant humor into his portrayal, and of the many examples of a celebrity playing a role in an animated movie, Williams in Aladdin will frequently remain the best. See you next time.